Months passed, and Adana's belly grew. She had been cast aside by almost everyone, left to face the consequences of her actions alone. Her parents, though still providing her with food and shelter, had distanced themselves emotionally. They spoke in clipped tones, no longer the loving and warm people they once were. The shame was too much for them to bear, and Adana was left to fend for herself emotionally. The day her labor began was marked by heavy rains that drenched the village. The storm seemed like a reflection of the turmoil in her heart. With no support from Chibuzo or her family, Adana gave birth to a baby boy in the small, dimly lit hut that she now occupied alone. Her mother had come to assist, but her presence was distant, mechanical. There was no joy, no celebration, only the heavy silence of disappointment. Despite the coldness of her surroundings, Adana looked at her son and felt an overwhelming sense of love. He was innocent in all of this, a victim of circumstances he hadn't asked for.
Before we continue, we have noticed that a percentage of you are not subscribed. So please hit the subscribe button to support us and share. It really helps the channel to grow. Now back to the video.
As she cradled him in her arms, tears streamed down her face. This child was hers, and no matter what happened, she vowed to protect him with everything she had. But life in the village didn't get easier. After the birth of her child, the whispers turned into outright scorn. People openly criticized her, labeling her a bad example for the younger girls. They spoke as though she had committed the worst sin imaginable. Some even suggested she leave the village and never return, as though her presence was a stain on the community. One day, a village elder approached her, a woman named Momankechi who had always been known for her wisdom. She was one of the few who hadn't treated Adana with contempt. She sat with Adana by the stream one evening and spoke softly. "Adana, life has not been kind to you, but you must be strong. People will talk, but they will not feed you or your child. You must find a way to stand on your own, to live beyond the shame they place on you." Her words struck a chord. Adana realized that she could no longer live her life trying to meet the expectations of others. She had a child to care for, and that was all that mattered now. Determined to provide for her son, Adana decided to focus on her skill as a seamstress. She began to sew clothes for villagers, slowly building a small business for herself. At first, people were hesitant to come to her, but over time, they couldn't deny her talent. Word spread about her beautiful work, and slowly, the same people who had rejected her began to seek her out. Though the shame and judgments didn't disappear overnight, Adana's resilience and dedication to her son slowly earned her a measure of respect. She no longer cared what people thought of her. She was focused on building a future for herself and her child. Years passed, and Adana's son grew into a strong, healthy boy. She taught him the values of hard work, perseverance, and self-respect, ensuring that he would not be defined by the circumstances of his birth. Though Chibuzo never returned, Adana no longer waited for him. She had moved beyond the pain of the past and had found strength within herself. In time, the village's whispers faded. People came to see Adana not as the girl who had brought shame upon herself, but as a woman who had overcome great odds to build a life for her child. Her parents, though still carrying their own guilt and shame, slowly began to reconcile with her, realizing that their daughter had shown more strength than they ever imagined. Adana's story became one of resilience, a reminder that even in the face of betrayal, rejection, and shame, one can rise and reclaim their life. And though she had once been deceived by love, she found something far greater in the process: self-love, courage, and the unwavering bond between a mother and her child. Like and subscribe to this channel for more videos like this.